Greetings, this is Kal Kat the Kal Katster, and I am dressed up in the Star Trek outfit of the Chimera, which is still in hiatus. Anyway, yes, it is Halloween night, so I went to the Halloween thing as usual at the church. I'll show that footage when we put the whole video together this cell, and then I'll watch clips from it and comment on them, I guess. Yeah, so that's a little later. Now it's still Halloween night. It's Halloween night. It's about 10:30, and as promised, I'm going to review a movie. I am going to watch Buckets of Blood, the classic Roger Corman movie. This particular DVD was provided to us on a DVD collection by Lord Blood-Rah, the Nerve-Wracking Theater. So this is a horror host associated with John Stanley, the horror host, and some of the others. They kind of all met each other, and Robert Burrell and all those characters from the conventions, from the toy shows, Time Tunnel toy thing, and also from the former Big Wow, which is now known as San Jose Comic Con. They've upscaled, and Fanime. Yeah, I think he appears at that too. Anyway, so yeah, he's not in the studio. That would be silly. That would be impossible. Although he has been in cameo in the background on Kal Kat Show episodes when we've gone to the horror host table. He's been there in the background at the Big Wow before. And he's waved, and we've waved back. And there was an episode of his show at the Time Tunnel years ago. It was at the Time Tunnel toy collectible thing, and he was making a scene and interviewing somebody, and I was in that as well as Tim in the background. So we were both in that one. So we were on his program, saying he'd on our program. So many years ago. But yes, we did not interview each other, but that would be cool. I haven't done that yet. But this was one of the horror hosts, and now we're going to watch one of his things. I'm not going to show footage from his thing because it's on his channel. You want to see it. He did a Roger Corman special. I'm just going to watch the film, and then I'm going to comment on it. And yes, actually I will bring Werewolf Fuzzy Face into the stadium, as well as Dracula Van Damme, and they will be watching it. Werewolf Fuzzy Face. I think I'm just going to have Fuzzy Face come in because, well, if Van Damme shows up too, that'll be cool. We'll see different characters that might show up while the movie is playing because they've seen it. So. Yes, but no, Blood-Rah's not showing up. It's just that comment on him. And yeah, the Halloween thing was cool. There was we couldn't of course interview anyone there. That would have been strange. But yeah, the cast members and some of the main cast, including the Duns, two of which were dressed up in fur outfits of some kind. One was a sheep, the other was sort of a cow. Anyway, there were other characters. There was sort of a Aladdin princess type of thing. There was a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, actor people were there. We had the guy, one of the Star Trek guys there, and I had dressed up in this modern Star Trek thing, which is a combination of outfits from Target and other places from last year that really looked like a TNG outfit, so of course I bought it. Yeah, so mine's the 30th anniversary and his is the 7th season. You'll probably see a brief shot of that. Anyway, so yeah, it's now 30th season. And yeah, the Chimera books are still going. I'm still writing those for Starship Locations. And let's go to the film. Yeah. Okay, here is Kadabra. She got in my room. Here she is. Here's Kadabra, the gothic girl cat from the very first episode of the Kal Kat Show. There she is. She's still around. There she is. There's a kitty. Gotta get her out of here. There's Abra. That was a sleepy kitty. Abra kitty. Abra. Yes. Yes. Good evenings. Yes. I'm snickering evilly. Dracula Van Damme. Yes. I star in the movies at the Transtech. Yes, I was one of the Decepticons. At least one of them. Maybe two. Yes. I also was in the Transtech. I also played the mind wipe, the powers of darkness, are a more powerful weapon than all the toys your science can muster. Now unite with me. And anyway, so we are watching the buckets of blood, and it's very twisted. Okay, now I have decided to pause the movie films so that I could watch the films. So I'm going to pause the movie film here and play the Hollywood 2-minute clip here for not Hollywood clip. I'm going to play the Halloween clip here. Yes, and I'm going to turn the sound off so I don't hear it, so that you at home, so you will dub in my voice for this part. This is the holiday Halloween festival. I'm going to play that, and then we'll go back to the movie. So here we go. I'm going to play it now. Yes. I'm going to sound kind of like Peter Lorre if he was very drunk. Yes. Here we go. The Fall Festival at the Christ Community Church. Yes. Yes, there were hundreds of people in there at attendance. I don't know, 200 or so, 300. A little less than last year, but yes. And the skull thing is in the background from the set out front. Yes, because it's Halloween. And yes, but yes, here is the festival. Because it's a festival, they could not be too spooky and stuff because it is a church. And so they did not. They were not too spooky. But there was someone that was the peanut butter and jelly bread slices. There were furries. There was a sheep, and also there was other thing. Yes, and there was a Star Trek guy, and there was Kal Kat, and he was there as another Star Trek guy, and there was Captain America, and the father, the lead from the other movie. There was one of the pastors was Indiana Jones, and another pastor was the Willy Wonka, and his wife was Wonka Bar, and also there were pirates. One of them was a pirate, Surfer Joe the pirate. They had a pirate ship. They had a dunking tank. Yes, I've never been in that, but it sounds very torturous. And yes, and many other curiosities on the set. So yes, yeah, it was fun. It was okay. It was entertaining, I guess. There's dunking, there's the pirate, and yes. So yeah, other I could mention a bunch of names. You wouldn't know who they are. So, yes. So, lots of the cast members, and yes, the video is surreptitiously filmed because we cannot actually interview anyone there. Because then they'd have to sign a contract to be on the film, and it would be very, very, impossible to do that. So this is just walking around in the. There's the peanut butter jelly. Yes, they are Star Trek camera people. Anyway, I will go on to the next thing. There's lots of other stuff. That the Star Trek guy on the stage. Yes, tried to film myself, but it did not turn out. And yes, Dracula Van Damme was there. He was evil. And no, he wasn't. But yes, and there's Winnie the Pooh and crutches. I don't think that's part of the costume, though. Anyway, we also have little bright lights and stage lights and things on the set. So yeah, it was there's the captain thing from the movie film, I forget what that is. Blanking on it. I'm not going back and fixing it. And now back to the show. All right. Yes. So far with Bucket of Blood, we were originally introduced in the film to the by the Lord Blood-Rah himself at his mansion castle thing set. A set that is very similar to the John Stanley one. And yes, nothing like this, of course, you know. Yes, he had like some green lights in the background. We don't want to steal his thunder. He's already on TV. Anyway, so it's a Roger Corman series. What Bucket of Blood is hilarious. Well, what it is it's a beatnik spoof dark comedy more than a horror movie. It's a dark comedy. It's 1959 Roger Corman movie. He's the guy that directed the original Little Shop of Horrors and a number of other movies. That's also on this DVD, but we're not going to go through a spurge and watch the other three. No, it's just this one, and yeah. I stopped at the first kill. Well, I think it might be the second kill, but for some reason our evil antagonist guy decided that I guess the cat was trapped in the wall, so he got a knife and he started sticking the knife in the wall, but of course that inadvertently kills the cat, and then he's like distraught about killing the neighbor's cat, and then immediately gets it out of the wall because he breaks into it. And then, of course, the cat is already petrified, which doesn't make any sense because it's a toy cat. It's already taxidermied. But yeah, they don't actually kill an animal in the movie. That would be messed up. So yes, they put ew. So yes, it's pretty gross. Yeah, and this knife stuck in it. And for some reason, it's still stuck in it, even though the wall came off. How does that work? Anyway, so that's cold. But yeah, he feels very distraught about this in the movie, and yes, but yes. Now we're going to go on to the rest and see as he starts to kill people. Beatniks were pre-Beatles art people, postmodern art people. Not to be confused with Beatles, but Beatles was kind of taking off that word, beatnik. That's why it's spelled Beatles, spelled differently, spelled like beatnik. Yes, yes, that's why that is. Anyway, so they're not spelled like beat; they're spelled like beat. Yeah, so there's maybe that's wrong, but they are similar. So they had the beatnik music in the Beatles, which started after this, a little bit after this. Yes, it was, so yes, it's Dracula Van Damme, and I'm going to get back to the movie. Tell you about it a little later on. What's coming up next? A 50s movie, a classic underground movie, very twisted. Has a lot of there's a lot of talking and things because it's 50s. The horror is creepy horror. It's not really the kind the kids are used to now. Nowadays it's all this jump scares and ooh, we're going to startle you and blah, ooh, you're scared, and funny pictures come on the screen and bump in the night. Back in the day it was ambience and setting. So this movie has a juxtaposition of the jazz funk music playing, and then you switch to like weird stuff is going on. These beatniks are clearly out of their element. Very topical, actually, for today's generation. Millennials seem to be out of their element as well. But yes, they're very topical for the 50s. Yes, and of course the Fox News people, the fake news, they want to go back to the 50s. But this is the horror of the 50s. No, don't go back to the 50s. Anyway, back to the Blood movie. I can't actually show footage from the movie. It's got music in it, but I can tell you about it as I watch it. So next, I tell you more after I see more of it. Actually, Werewolf Fuzzy Face is going to come in here and he's going to tell you about it. Anyway, so here, yes. Yes. Well, Fuzzy Face here. Yeah. I played the Pan the Con in the Blair Witch Parody 3. I was also Rat Trap in Trans. I was, the Rat Trap guy. So, yeah. The Werewolf Fuzzy Face. And what's fun about this movie is fucked up. It's screwed up. This movie is the 50s movie, and they have Chicago accents. It's very good. Yeah. So yeah, I also played the earliest thing I was in was a non-speaking role. Or at least the earliest thing in modern times on the Kal Kat show, season 2. I was the Russian mobster in season 2. Even though I'm not Russian, it was funny. I was playing the Russian mobster. It's supposed to look all serious and stuff. Yeah, it didn't work too well. Did not look convincing. You know. But Italians can be fascist too, so it's anyway, so this movie is messed up. The beatniks love his dead cat in the movie, and his sculpture of the dead cat, and one of the beatniks offers him some heroin, at which point a cop shows up to arrest him for having heroin. Because they talking about heroin in barbiturates today even. And it was like, and he's going to arrest him, but then the cop whips out a gun to shoot him, to bring him into the station house, and then, but he's got a pan, like a frying pan. Somehow he manages to bonk the cop over the head with a pan. And then the old lady comes to the cat. She comes to knock on the door. That's where we left off. So yeah, he is apparently cacked the guy. Is he gonna? I guess he's gonna make sculpture out of him. Cause that'd be funny. That's a lot of clay, you know. It's pretty screwed up. He's gonna put him in cement boots. Yeah. Of course, you'd have to be able to carry the guy around. Even how's he gonna do that? Actually, so far as well, I've not seen Buckets of Blood, even though it's called that. I would imagine there would be lots of gore and blood off the guy, but so far, that has not happened. The title is misleading. Werewolf Fuzzy Face. Yes. Will also be, there's a trans tech. They're doing another one. And I'm going to be a Decepticon in that. Star says, no, I'm going to be a Decepticon in that film. It's awesome to come back and do that. I'm sort of a ringleader guy. We're going to reshoot the Panicon footage we lost last in March. And but it's not Pandacon in this version because that was just being silly. It's got to be a Transformer. So we got a guy in mind. Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing entirely. It's not in here. So yeah, you're watching a Halloween Kal Kat Show Halloween live production. As I watch through the movie Buckets Blood, and we comment on it. Werewolf Fuzzy Face. Dracula Van Dam is also here, but I've decided to sit down and tell you all about it. I've been a lot of characters in there. I was Rat Trap too. Another thing, it is speculated that the character Vector Sigma in a trans deck is also me as well. That might be. Before Cybertron was, I was. Yes. So the Vector Sigma, trans deck. Around. It's not listed in. Yeah, I wasn't listed in the credits for Trans Tech, the Transformers Meet Robotech, because I was in it. But yeah, I wasn't listening to credits. I think they forgot. Anyway, I don't remember. I was I wasn't high on nothing. Maybe on candy. It's a very amusing and weird movie. This movie, like, I don't know. I just don't know. And anyway, up on the screen, it keeps cutting to commercials because it was from a program. Cuts the little bread right there on the screen, interviewing a guy. Apparently, the movie itself is not very long, so he's got to interview people from the movie, which is neat. But we don't need to show that because that's his production, Blood Ras. We don't need to just nah, we don't need to do that. So, anyways, so back to the show. Okay, real quick. Yes, I think we're almost done with the. I think this is the midpoint, and we're in the third act. The movie. Yes, the actor who plays this guy, Wilson, is in the movie. He after he kills the cop, he makes the character makes a sculpture of the dead man. Meanwhile, somebody offers $500 for the dead cat, but someone has already figured out that it was a fraud, so the guy knows it's like a. But he's gonna sell it to him anyway because it's kind of like Little Shop of Horrors a little bit, just a little bit. Except a dead cat instead of a plant. Yes, Roger Corman. Also, the actor who played the evil guy went on to play in Dragnet and Star Trek, and a number of other things. Deep Space Nine. He was a character actor. So yes, yes. So and they showed a bunch of previews here on this thing. They had various movies on this reel. There's various other films we're not going to necessarily look at, but it's fun to see the commercials that he included on here, as well as this being the second time they've aired the production. This was done for a production they did at a winery up north in the Napa area. So yeah, that's interesting. But yes, so it's interesting watching this video film. And now, and as a spaceman movie, the Planet movie. So, but now back to the movie. It's after midnight, and it is getting late. But yes, yes, and completely fraying the accent. But yes, sounding more German than Peter Lorre. It's probably Cuban. Anyway, yeah, you're watching the production version of the film I can't show you footage from. Yes. Bucket of Blood. So far, there's been very little blood. There was once blood on the ground, which was, since it's black and white, it was probably just chocolate syrup. But yes, for buckets of blood, there should be if they cut up a guy and made him into a sculpture. But apparently not. Showing lots of previews, commercials, horror movies, films. Yes. Okay. Upgrade on this movie. It is almost 1 in the morning, and it's now over. Yeah, so after he killed the dude, the cop guy, then this evil art critic lady shows up. He offers to make a sculpture of her from a nude. She's a smart ass artist lady, and of course he kills her, the bad guy, and then yeah, they don't actually show any gore or blood shooting everywhere, so the title is misleading. But it's the 50s; they couldn't show gobs of gore shooting everywhere. They couldn't call buckets of blood, but but anyway, yeah, gory Halloween movie, and then the beatniks decide to run there's a cafe that's being run that he works for, the main bad guy, and he goes with the beatniks to a party. He's going to go to a party. He's going to no. I'm skipping ahead. There was no party yet. He decides that in order to become really popular in the art world or whatever, that he has to keep killing. So he kills one other guy using a saw. Well, there's like a guy in a plant somewhere, like a mill, sawmill kind of thing. Well, it's a table saw, but there is one gory scene in the movie in which he lowers the guy into the table saw, and cuts him in half. But you don't see it. You just see the table saw like zooming in as the camera goes, and there's some blood, fake blood going. So there's your bucket of blood, just a little splatter of stuff on a table saw. But it's in black and white. And then you cut to another, then the party. Okay. The cops have figured out that he's crazy because they apparently, like, found evidence in his room and stuff. So they're looking for him. So they go to the party where the beatniks are throwing him a party for his awesome sculptures. And at one point he took the bust of the guy that he cut in half, and he brought that to preamble to the party. And finally the cook guy realizes what he did, and he's like, oh no, we don't want this one on. They're trying to like appease him because they know he's crazy and he's chopping up people. So they basically throw this party to catch him, and he goes to and he proposes to the girl, but she doesn't really like him. She just liked him as a friend. So he goes insane, and then he attempts to kill her, but she gets away. So he goes back to his apartment all distraught from the party, and the ghosts of the people he killed come back to him in his mind, and the ghosts tell him that, I guess that's where the buckets of blood is from, and the sort of Karo syrup and stuff. But there's not a lot of blood, not really. And then the police show up to get him in detective clothes from the 50s. You know, they don't look like police. They look like detective. And they show up, and they have the hats and all that. And they try to find him, but when they open up the closet, they find him, he's been hanged. He hanged himself because he wanted to get away from the ghosts. The end. And then Lord Bloodraw talks about it here on the end, but we don't need to have that because then we'd have to like give all the credit to. But yes, thanks to we will acknowledge that this is one of his tapes, his DVDs, and it was awesome. Well, it's as far as a horror movie goes, a great Halloween movie to watch at Halloween. They also advertised several other movies, Plan 9 from Outer Space and The Brain That Wouldn't Die and all that. I think I got the Plan 9 from Outer Space from a different collection, but yeah, from the Ed Wood collection. But and The Brain That Wouldn't Die, we should do that at some point. That's a fun one. That's the one that Mystery Science Theater did back in the day. That was the one where there's a head that's like a living head. It's like Reanimator. That's what they were thinking. Yep. Except it's a lady head, not a man head. Yes. So yes, happy Halloween. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put this Halloween special together until tomorrow on November 1st, but you'll be able to see it. It is technically November 1st. I'm going to hit the hay. It's late. Werewolf Van Damme and Werewolf Fuzzy Face already saw it, so they went home, and that's kind of the end of that. Actually, it was just me playing those characters, obviously. This is Kal Kat. This is the Kal Kat Show Halloween special, and hopefully this one will get views. My Halloween specials usually don't. This is a review and special, so I think since it's mostly a movie review, I guess it would actually go on the reviews channel, even though, it's a review, so and the other stuff's thrown in, so sure. Bucket of Blood. What would it be rated now? A black and white horror movie where it's the 50s and they really don't swear and it's just horrific ideas in it. I would say it's PG-13. It's not really at all like the kind of horror they do nowadays. It's PG-13. So, yeah. So check that out. And the earliest version of this movie I remember seeing on Creature Features on Channel 2 years ago. Uh, a number of other Creature Features that I saw as well. I had thought that it was unclear as to which ones I had seen. I'm not going to go into the details on that, but suffice it to say, I didn't remember when certain things happened the way it happened when I was younger. A lot of the horror movies I saw, I had snuck down and watched when my sister was watching them, so she would try to freak me out. And there was one instance where there was a Nightmare on Elm Street. It aired on TV. It wasn't supposed to, with uncut, and I watched that. That was cool. I'd already seen it in the theater, though, so it wasn't like I'd first seen it. I'd seen it in the theater. Saw a bunch of Halloween, a bunch of other stuff. My friends and I watched all of the Halloween movies and the Friday the 13th movies and other ones. So back in the day, all the other new modern 80s horror slasher movies. This was technically a slasher movie. It was a 50s one. I would say it's not exactly like Little Shop of Horrors, but the same idea. Somebody becomes famous vicariously through murder. That's kind of a similar theme, murder. Except in the case of Little Shop of Horrors, it's a giant man-eating plant that is apparently killing his enemies for him. And in the classic 50s version and the 80s version, in the 80s version, it was James Earl Jones as a plant, the giant plant Audrey 2, which is just awesome. Yes, so we should do if I haven't done a Little Shop of Horrors, I should probably do a review of that at some point. So this was juxtaposed to the 50s one, maybe. But not tonight. Tonight, it's done. This is done. This is long. This is the special. So yeah, our Halloween special is done. Happy Halloween and happy All Saints Day. Good night, blah, blah. Yes. Thanks to Lord Bloodbrah's Rackin' Theater for their production. Let me get the DVD cover. Where is that? Where is that? What did I do with it? Oh, well. It's here somewhere. Where is that silly thing? Anyways, it's his Roger Corman special. I don't need to show you the box. It's fine. It's his Roger Corman special. Yeah. Some of these movies were reviewed on Red Letter Media and other sources as well. This was a fairly good print, although it was obviously letterboxed for wide TVs. I don't think the original was. The original looks to be from a 16 millimeter blown up to 35. It's not a terrific print, but I guess if you don't have a copy of it, it's awesome to have that if you want the commentary. I think the most interesting thing about this DVD set is that it has a lot of interviews with some of the people and the characters. Not necessarily actors from it, but apparently people that either worked in similar venues. I was wrong about that earlier interview. That was with a guy who was doing artwork for posters and such, and artwork for scary movies that emulated that time period. So it wasn't actually the guy in the movie, it was the emulated guy. So yeah, he was copying the design. But yeah, so so sure, it was fine. Lord Bloodbrah. Maybe we'll get a wave from him in one of the other in one of our episodes, but we probably won't get an interview. I don't think. There's always music playing in the dealer's room, which is part of the problem. So yeah. YouTube flags that. Anyway, this is Kal Kat, the Kalcaster, and it's done.